The Skibidi Toilet series of Source Filmmaker clips by dafuq has captured the hearts and minds of millions, with new uploads gaining millions of views in minutes, and its creator having tens of millions of YouTube subscribers. And that's not to mention all of the re-uploads and analysis content. But what does it mean? Who are these toilets? And are we only seeing what the cameramen want us to see? It's not going to be easy, but we can try it together. Maybe we have a chance at understanding Skibidi Toilet.
My style is ridiculous.
It's normal to sing in the shower, on the toilet, maybe, but in the toilet? I'm not so sure. It's clear from episode 1 that these are unusual beings, and I'm sure that G-Man's presence in episode 1 is no coincidence. Given his history of connection to extra-dimensional beings, his proximity to our first sighting of a Skibidi toilet is concerning indeed.
My style is ridiculous.
We ain't here to hurt nobody. An exclamation of peace, and yet the one calling for peace is skeletonized, outnumbered by the Skibidi toilets that would silence this message. Is this the true face of Skibidi, or is it external meddling, perhaps from the G-Man, that has led to them abandoning their peaceful side? Either way, it's concerning, as this episode showcases the first example of Skibidi mobility. They have managed to install themselves as urinals into an elevator, whereas the original Skibidi we saw appeared to be locked in place. A possibility worth considering is that the middle toilet contains a young Skibidi, full of joy and hope, while its adoptive fathers seek to knock that out of it. This is information overload, and I don't blame you if you're overwhelmed by it at this point. Let's take it slow. What do we have here? Whereas previous humans were interested or even joyous and dancing around the Skibidi toilets, this is our first example of random pedestrians encountering them, and they are clearly scared or confused. These toilets are fully in sync, with no green-haired peaceful dissenter among them. There is a clear leader or dominant toilet who is much larger than the others, and they are now able to locomote without external aid, though it's unclear how. Perhaps they move like a slug, with a sort of slimy foot underneath the base of the toilet, dragging them along. Perhaps Skibidi toilets leave a trail that could be analyzed. Also of note, we see a human killed, crushed to death, murder, or an accident. Despite their imposing presence, the toilets do seem to be utilizing the road. Perhaps they are trying to obey the law but don't fully understand it yet. However, I fear it's far too late, as we can see a military helicopter observes this killing. The limited communicative ability of these toilets means it will be very hard to iron out any misunderstandings. Before we move on, I'd just like to point something else out. Strange, isn't it, that there was a person running perfectly in front of the largest toilet, in between the two roads? Why would a person be there, and perfectly timed for the military to see it?
My style is ridiculous.
What was the first thing you noticed was wrong? Was it that all of these people eating at this supposed restaurant are sitting on toilets? This is the first major symbolic message of Skibidi Toilet. The humans are all shitting where they eat. And what happens when you do that? You end up living in a toilet. Many have interpreted this message to show that the Skibidi toilets transform humans into more Skibidi toilets. But I say no. This is just the humans coming to the realization that they were toilets all along. The Skibidi toilets here are just rubbing it in and pointing out their hypocrisy. The old man looks on in disgust at the toilet people, while he himself is a toilet. Oh, and yeah, it does appear that they are eating literal turds.
It's my style, it's ridiculous.
An extreme escalation. We saw the unfortunate first contact with normal people, observed by the Earth's military forces. We then saw some conflict between Skibidi toilets and humans on a personal level, and now, Earth's military forces have been deployed, and perhaps to defend their people now living on Earth, the elite Skibidi forces have also been deployed from wherever they come from. Conflict now seems inevitable, especially now that the giant toilets have released their swarming micro-toilets. But just imagine if the green-haired Skibidi had been allowed to sing its song of peace. But now, the way things have gone, they most definitely are here to hurt somebody. The only question is it entirely their fault? Perhaps I spoke too soon. Look at this. Humans and toilets dancing together as equals despite the conflict that is happening between their two, I suppose, nations. No one's getting bitten, no one's getting turned into a toilet, no one's getting shot at. It goes to show that just because two nations are at war, it doesn't mean all of those nations' people have to hate each other. But the G-Man was there, so I wonder how long it will last.
My style is ridiculous.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes.
Wow, what is happening here? First of all, from this point on, we have to be very careful. As we can see from the shadow, we are seeing through the eyes of a man with a security camera for a head. This is important to bear in mind as it means we are only seeing what an expert in recording and displaying things wants us to see. Oh, a swarm of Skibidi toilets ganging up on one poor man. Oh, they're so evil. Oh, look at this giant boss toilet. So intimidating, so scary. They're our enemies. But what was the toilet in the beginning doing? Just minding his own business and then singing for a new friend. As we know, toilets and humans can hang out, they can sing together, they can be friends. But no, this camera head flushes him. And these cameramen, they're the good guys. I'm not so sure. And this boss toilet with G-Man's head, is it the G-Man? If it is, was he transformed or did he choose to transform? After all, we know he's been spending a lot of time with the Skibidi toilets. Perhaps he realized they're in the right and willingly joined them. Noting the vehicle in the back of their formation, the cameramen seem to have some degree of traditional support, but overall, what's happened? It's no longer humans versus Skibidi toilets. Where has this new faction come from? Is the enemy of an enemy always your friend? And once again, note that we're being fed this footage by a cameraman. Just how long have they been shaping what the humans see? Is this the only reason the Skibidi toilets are our enemy to begin with? I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat and say, maybe the cameramen needed an enemy that they could rise up against so we'd trust them.
My style is ridiculous.
Two murders in broad daylight, and then vandalism of a monument to the toilet who made first contact. And we're supposed to think that law enforcement coming after these murderers and vandals is a bad or scary thing. Just think about it for a second. We're expected to believe that the Skibidi toilets are evil based on what we've been shown by these camera people, and then think these camera people running around killing people and vandalizing everything is fine because of that. It's sick, it's twisted, and if you think these are the heroes, you need to take a good hard look at yourself. I mean, let's just watch one more episode. This is egregious.
Cause my style is ridiculous.
Thumbs up. They are giving a thumbs up after committing a terrorist attack on a religious gathering. Yes, the toilet, leading the service, ate one of the attackers. Clear self-defense. I'm sorry, I thought this was America. We have freedom of religion. If you want to be a toilet person, sing toilet people songs, and worship toilet people gods, that is your right. And not to mention, first, the camera people came for the Skibidi toilets. They made them look like monsters so you'd hate them, to the point where you'll cheer on attacks on their peaceful gatherings. Once that conflict's over though, once they've wiped out all the Skibidi toilets and they need a new monster to attack so people will love them as heroes, who will be next? Will it be you? Will it be me? Either way, who will be there to help us if no one is willing to help the Skibidi toilets? But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.